Hey guys, welcome back to Mentorship CEO. Guys, if you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. And at some point throughout the video, give the video a thumbs up, hit that like button. Now, what inspired me to make this video is when I was watching a couple of other YouTube videos where gray market dealers are showing their transactions with clients and customers. The clients are referring to certain things on the watch incorrectly. So hopefully after this video, you and anyone else could, refer to things correctly and sound a little bit more educated when it comes to talking about watches. So let's get into the video. So guys, specifically, it was a video where a customer was referring to the dial of the watch as the face of the watch. Now, I get it. If you're referring to a color or you're pointing at the watch and you're saying the red face, sure. Most people that know watches or the dealer would understand that you're referring to the dial. But just like the human face, the eye is the eye, the mouth is the mouth, but it's on the face. So the dial is on the watch, it's in the case of the watch, and there's certain things on the dial of the watch. So guys, let's get into this video. I'm gonna pop up a diagram right here where I'm gonna refer to certain parts on the watch that you're gonna encounter if you're talking about certain watches. Now, of course, the diagram, as you can see, is a Rolex watch, is a Rolex Submariner, but the same, everything applies regardless of the brand of the watch, regardless of the model. Most watches have the same components and parts. So let's get into the video. And first, we're gonna start talking about the bezel of the watch. Now, the bezel is the outer rim on the case of the watch. Now, in this diagram right here, you can see the bezel is blue, and on the Submariner, the bezel has a functionality. Some watches have bezels that's just for aesthetic, purposes. Like if we're going to be talking about Rolex, there's the engine turn bezel, there's the fluted bezel, and there's the smooth bezel, and that's just for looks. But we have on the Explorer where it's a fixed bezel. Of course, just for telling, time on another, time zone pretty much. We have on the Sub where it's for divers so that they could help, time their dives. And we have on the GMT, which has a bidirectional bezel, which is to tell different time zones. And on the Submariner, it's a unidirectional where you could only turn it one direction. Now, like I said, bezels have many different looks, but they're pretty much on all watches. Some are wider, some are narrower, but it's still called a bezel. Next, we're gonna talk about the crystal. Now, the crystal is the glass on the watch. When I'm talking about a crystal, most of the time it's gonna come up whether it's glass or whether it's plastic. And specifically, you would say maybe acrylic or plexi instead of plastic. And the crystal is pretty much there to protect the dial and all the components within the watch. With a crystal, the glass is more, scratch resistant. And the plexi, acrylic, or plastic crystal is more prone to scratches. Next, we're going to talk about the hour markers that's inside the watch on the dial. Now, the hour markers could be varied in so many different ways. Some have stick hour markers, some have no hour markers, like the, what you would call it, the Movado Museum watch. That's good entry-level watch, and it's beautiful with no hour markers. The Cartier Santos, some of them have no hour markers, but hour markers come in different variations. It could come with just the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 12, or they could be in Arabic numbers. They could be in Roman numerals. They could be with baguette diamonds. Different variations. But the hour markers is pretty much the numbers along all the way up to 12. Next, we're going to talk about the hands on the watch. Now, the hands typically we'll refer to the 3 hands, but there's more hands that could be on a watch, whether it's the chrono hand or there's sub dials where there's more hands, like a sweeping second hand, or there's multiple different hands that could be there. But we're just going to refer to the 3. which will be the hour, the minute, and the second hand. Now, sometimes we'll have to specify. So if you're looking at a watch, the hour hand is the shortest hand on the dial. The minute hand is a little bit longer than the hour hand. And the second hand is the one that's actually moving, counting by the seconds. It could be ticking on a quartz watch, or it could be sweeping on an automatic watch. But those are the three common hands that's in a watch. Some watches don't have a second hand, some just have an hour and a minute. But like I said, depending on the watch, it will vary. Now, next we're going to talk about the crown on the watch. Now, the crown is typically, if you're looking at on my POV, and I'm looking at the watch right now, the crown would be on the right side of the case. For some watches, it'll be on the left side, and that would be for like a left-handed person who's wearing the watch on their right wrist. Now, the crown is used to start the watch. It's almost like the key to the watch. It starts the engine, let's say it's whether it's a manual or automatic watch. The crown is also used to set the time and to set any functionality that's on the watch, whether it's setting the day, whether it's setting the date, or setting the time. And that's the functionality of the crown. The crown is also used to make sure that the case of the watch is airtight. So some watches have a screw down crown and some have where you just push it in. Crowns usually have maybe the brand, the logo, like for the Rolex, it has the crown. On the Omega, it has the Omega sign. Some watches just have just a smooth crown. Next, we're going to talk about end links. End links are on most watches, and typically there's two end links. Now, a watch that have a leather strap, no end links. Some do have end links though. You know, some people also add an end link to it, especially with some Rolex watches. They add an end link to a leather strap. I don't really like that look, but it's out there. But anyways, watches have two end links, and the end links is a piece of the watch that connects the bracelet to the case of the watch. So the end link has the pin that goes through it and connects into the lug of the actual watch case, between the lugs on the watch case. End links can be referred to as hollow end links or solid end links. Most modern watches have solid end links, and most vintage watches have hollow end links. People prefer solid end links because it makes the watch feel a little bit more sturdy. And if you have precious metal, of course, guys, that's going to be more gold, more platinum, titanium, whatever material, so more value. But in my opinion, I don't really care. I like vintage watches, so most of the times the links are hollow. Next, what we're going to refer to is the case back. Now, the case back on a watch, most Rolex watches are solid material. So it's solid stainless steel or precious metal, gold, yellow gold, platinum, titanium, whatever. But on other watches, they have a display case where it's glass. I can appreciate a display case where you can actually see the movement. I don't know if one day Rolex would come out with a watch that has a display case back. Rolex isn't really typically known for being a watch that has a beautiful movement where you would look at the work and the design that goes into the movement, like other watches do. Like a Patek movement is more on another level of beauty and craftsmanship. But still, I would appreciate if Rolex someday, out the factory, have a display case back. But that's the display case back. Some are screw down, which helps the watch be a little bit more waterproof, and some have a snap case back where you just push it in and it snaps in. Guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Of course, there's other parts of a watch. I'm gonna hopefully make a part 2 to this, where it's gonna go a little bit more deeper for more advanced watch people, going into the movement and certain parts of the movement that you can refer to. But hopefully you enjoy this, guys. Guys, give the video a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also turn your notification on so you can know whenever I post a video, and follow me on Instagram, mentorship.ceo. And guys, I'll see you in the next video.